October 4th, 2008. A 24-year-old American steps off a plane in Pyongyang, carrying a stack of textbooks and a Bible. He lacks any formal intelligence training. Within 6 months, however, he secures a position teaching at North Korea's most elite university, a level of access rarely granted to any foreign national. He spends his days instructing the sons of the regime's generals and nuclear scientists. By documenting their conversations and observing their behavior, he provides a rare window into the inner circle of the Hermit Kingdom. The environment is lethal. He walks past armed guards authorized to execute anyone for a suspicious glance. One mistake, one reported question or misunderstood interaction, and he faces a labor camp system that has already claimed 200,000 lives. This level of internal access, living inside the system, eating their food and following their rules, is something the CIA's multi-billion-dollar budget could never achieve. A civilian was documenting the regime from the inside, while professional espionage networks remained locked out. North Korea is protected by an architecture of absolute isolation. There is no open internet, and visitors are shadowed by state minders. Neighbors are incentivized to act as informants, making the entire populace a potential extension of the security state. Trillions in satellite technology can map missile sites from orbit, but these systems are limited. They see movement but cannot hear private conversations. Physical infiltration has historically resulted in failure. South Korean operatives were routinely caught and executed, and the US was left relying on rumors from defectors or the regime's former sushi chef to build psychological profiles of North Korea's leaders. By 2009, the need for ground-level intelligence reached a breaking point. North Korea's nuclear program was rapidly accelerating, yet Washington remained blind to internal decision-making. Because the standard models of infiltration were systematically defeated, Washington realized they couldn't train a new asset to break in. They had to find someone the regime had already invited through the gates. Finding an asset required a specific set of circumstances. The intelligence agency needed someone who entered the country legally, held a valid US passport, and provided enough economic value to the state to override the regime's inherent suspicion. They found that anomaly in Kim Dong-chul. He wasn't a professional agent. He was a 56-year-old Baptist pastor and naturalized citizen from Fairfax, Virginia. Kim utilized his wife's family connections, specifically a cousin with high-level links to the North Korean military, to secure an invitation to invest. In 2004, he moved to Rason, a special economic zone designed for foreign investment. He invested $2.6 million of his life savings to build the Tumengong Hotel. By creating local jobs and donating food and medicine, he became a model entrepreneur. He eventually received personal commendations from the North Korean government in 2007, 2009, and 2011. Kim Dong-chul's entry succeeded because he fulfilled a specific need for the regime: foreign capital. His business profile provided a direct opening into the country that the intelligence community had been unable to force open for decades. Sometime in 2009, Kim was approached by a joint team from the CIA and South Korean intelligence. They asked him to turn his business into a human listening post, gathering the data that satellites couldn't reach. 2 factors motivated him to say yes. He had seen the suffering of the North Korean people firsthand and wanted to help. His handlers also appealed to his patriotism, reminding him that as a citizen, he had a unique opportunity to serve his homeland. Because he was already active inside North Korea, there was no time for formal tradecraft schools. Instead, he received a crash course in clandestine operations during secret meetings held when he traveled out of the country. He was issued specialized hardware, including a wristwatch containing a hidden micro-camera. It was designed to look like a standard accessory, while allowing him to photograph military and government documents in plain sight. He learned to transfer these files using dead drops, leaving USB drives in pre-arranged hiding spots to avoid direct contact with handlers. The instructions were absolute: destroy the equipment after use. Any device found by the regime meant a death sentence. Kim accepted the mission, knowing there was no backup and no extraction plan. He was now an American spy, operating completely alone in a landscape where every interaction was a potential trap. During his first year as an active asset, Kim crossed back into the Rason economic zone. He carried his hotel business plans as was cover, but his luggage concealed specialized espionage tools. His new life required constant performance. Every meal shared with local officials, and every drink poured for a military contact was an intelligence gathering session. He had to maintain a friendly, loyal exterior while secretly monitoring his targets. His first operational success occurred at the docks, where he chatted with a North Korean army officer. While they spoke, Kim was secretly photographing military documents protruding from the officer's briefcase, using his wristwatch. They confirmed the intelligence was invaluable to the U.S. mission. A civilian businessman had bypassed the world's most impenetrable security architecture. His empathy and his hotel business provided a path inside that professional spies couldn't replicate. The question for Part 2 is whether he can maintain that performance before the North Korean surveillance state detects his movements. Billions of dollars in orbital cameras and intercepted radio waves can only tell you so much. When you are trying to look inside North Korea, spy satellites bounce off mountains and concrete, and wiretaps catch nothing but static. Kim Dong-chul, an American businessman operating a hotel in the Rason Special Economic Zone, realized quickly that his own eyes were entirely inadequate. To get the intelligence Washington actually wanted, he needed to rent the eyes of the people already inside the system. Recruiting those insiders presents a steep hurdle. The North Korean state demands absolute ideological loyalty from its party officials, enforced by the constant threat of execution or labor camps for anyone caught stepping out of line. Yet, decades of severe economic depression created a massive blind spot. Even loyal, high-ranking military and party members struggle to put food on the table. Ideology takes a backseat when survival requires cold, hard foreign currency. Kim recognized that desperation and turned it to his advantage. He started small, approaching underpaid officials and offering a few hundred US in exchange for innocent-sounding favors, disguised as routine business research. A border guard might receive a little extra cash for slipping Kim a shipping manifest to help him plan hotel logistics. A local driver got a generous tip after casually mentioning some troop movements he noticed along the highway. By the end of his first year, those small transactions culminated in a massive breakthrough. Kim recruited an active duty military officer. In exchange for an envelope of American cash, this officer, Agent Zero, handed over classified documents detailing a North Korean naval installation. When those documents arrived at Langley, analysts were floored. They had acquired an active human asset embedded directly inside the North Korean military, a feat virtually unheard of in recent intelligence history. With Agent Zero securely on the payroll, Kim crossed a hard line. The observant hotel manager handing out tips had become the primary architect of an active espionage ring inside the most closed nation on Earth. Moving into his second year, Kim aggressively expanded his reach. He recruited a trading company official with clearance to travel the country, and a border customs officer who monitored equipment flowing in from China. This diagram outlines the logistical web he built from Rason. His sources established direct lines to military hubs in Pyongyang and smuggling routes on the Chinese border. Their constant movement allowed them to ferry stolen intelligence to Kim without raising suspicions. As the quality of this information improved, the CIA demanded more. They pushed Kim to identify newly promoted army generals, secure port shipping logs, and hunt down mysterious missile parts. To meet those demands, Kim orchestrated the operation from the open lobby of his modest hotel. He bribed port officials and cultivated friendships with military police, hiding his massive intelligence network in plain sight. Around 2011, Washington tasked him with an incredibly ambitious objective.
They wanted tangible, physical proof of North Korea's rapidly advancing nuclear program. Listening to whispers, Kim identified a scientist working deep within the state's classified nuclear research sector. Like the others, this scientist was desperate for cash to survive. A deal was struck. In exchange for a substantial payout, the scientist handed over a heavy, solid block of material. It was a 99.999% pure zinc ingot, stamped with old Soviet markings, a highly refined metal essential for building nuclear warheads and advanced missile systems. Getting it out of the country required a massive gamble. Kim packed the highly restricted ingot into his standard luggage, crossed the border into China, and handed the physical evidence directly to U.S. intelligence. A civilian hotel proprietor with zero formal espionage training had walked out of North Korea with a physical piece of its nuclear arsenal. He succeeded where billion-dollar surveillance networks could not even begin to look. By year 5, the sheer scale of the operation became a severe liability. Kim managed at least half a dozen active informants, scattered from the ports to the capital. He had fallen into a trap we can call the vulnerability matrix. Every time Kim recruited a new informant or paid a new bribe, he exponentially multiplied his risk. As this diagram illustrates, a single compromised source on the edge of the network leads right back to the center. Every military officer and border guard in that web knew Kim's real face, his real name, and his exact location. If even one low-level contact broke under interrogation, the entire operation would collapse instantly. The psychological weight was crushing. Kim lived a split existence, running a legitimate business and lying to his own wife by day, then lying awake every night in his hotel room, waiting for state security to kick down his door. This is the defining paradox of human intelligence gathering. The more successful you are at building a high-value network, the less likely you are to survive it, and North Korean counterintelligence is infinitely patient. Over the years, state security began quietly logging Kim's unusual meetings and filing reports on the American who asked a few too many questions about naval bases. By 2014, he faced an agonizing choice. If he abandoned his post and fled the country, the CIA would lose its most valuable window into the regime, and the local sources he left behind would almost certainly face execution. But if he stayed, his luck would inevitably run dry. Evading a paranoid surveillance state for 5 years is a statistical anomaly. Avoiding it forever is mathematically impossible. Trapped by his own success, Kim made the call. He chose to endure the psychological torture and remain in Racine, rolling the dice day after day to keep the intelligence flowing to Washington. He built a machine that became entirely too important to dismantle, and for a deep cover mole operating at that level, there is simply no safe way out. For years, Kim Dong-chul pulled off an almost impossible feat. He built and operated a deep-cover human intelligence network inside North Korea without ever being detected. His exposure didn't come from a brilliant counter-espionage operation. In late 2014, a local construction crew knocked down a wall at his hotel without permission, sparking a remarkably mundane business dispute. Furious at the property damage, Kim publicly denounced the local authorities. He lost his temper and threatened a dramatic protest, declaring he would disembowel himself if they didn't review the decision. He promised to commit this act right in front of the massive bronze statues of North Korea's leaders. In a state where total obedience is mandatory, threatening suicide near a leader statue is an act of treason. Kim declared he would rather die than be pushed around by corrupt officials. That emotional outburst over a brick wall painted a target on his back, alerting the regime to look much closer at this foreign investor. By October 1st, 2015, Kim crossed the border for the final time. He felt the rising heat of surveillance, but crossed anyway, hoping his presence would clear the air. Stepping out of a government building, one of his own secret agents approaches him in broad daylight and presses a USB drive and a bundle of papers straight into his hand. Kim's stomach drops. He knows immediately that his agent is compromised and that handing over intelligence materials in public is a deliberate trap. Hurrying to his car, another familiar figure slides in beside him, the head of the local counter-espionage office. A polite request to drive to a hotel for a chat immediately ends with security officers moving in. They confiscate his belongings, throw a blindfold over his eyes, and force him into a van. The regime expertly weaponized Kim's own network against him. They baited a hook with a final intelligence handoff, and the moment he took it, his freedom was gone. Kim Dong-chul vanishes into the interrogation chambers of the North Korean secret police. For months, no one knows where he is, or if he is even alive. Inside these cells, soldiers want every name and every method.
To break him, they use starvation, electric shocks, and shatter his fingers under their boots. Consumed by despair, Kim attempts to escape the daily torture. He tries to end his own life by inhaling toxic charcoal briquette gas. He loses consciousness, but guards find him and revive him with freezing water. A guard sneers at him, trembling on the concrete floor, stating, "Number 429, you're destined to live a long life. You won't die until we say so." The regime claimed total ownership over Kim's existence, prolonging his survival only to extract every detail of his operation. Under the physical toll of constant abuse, Kim makes an agonizing operational choice. To protect his highest-level contacts, he gives up the names of 6 lower-level North Korean accomplices. The cost of saving himself is absolute. The state executes all 6 of those individuals for aiding him. In March 2016, a broken Kim is pushed in front of cameras in Pyongyang to read a scripted apology. He is sentenced to 10 years of hard labor, taking permanent damage to his health. But beyond the prison walls, the geopolitical landscape shifts. By early 2018, high-stakes diplomatic brinksmanship between the US and North Korea creates a rare window for prisoner negotiations. On May 9, 2018, after 31 months in captivity, Kim Dong-chul is handed over to US envoys on a Pyongyang tarmac. Hours later, he lands in the United States, emaciated but free. His operational discipline kept him breathing through the worst of his interrogations, but his ultimate survival relied entirely on a massive diplomatic trade outside his control. Kim's story forces us to look at the hardest calculus in intelligence. Do the results actually justify the devastating human cost? We can evaluate this using a visual ledger of his operation. On the yield side, Kim spent 2,190 consecutive days infiltrating the world's tightest surveillance state, lasting longer than the entire Korean War. He used that time to gather military secrets satellites couldn't collect, personally handing the CIA close-up photographs of mysterious naval vessels in Rajin port. But on the cost side of the scale, we weigh his ruined health, lost home, and the execution of 6 contacts. The scale locks in an uneasy balance. Kim admits living on borrowed time, with a hard-earned appreciation for freedom. His legacy reminds us that a successful mission rarely ends with a clean getaway. Sometimes success is an ordinary person defying impossible odds for years, proving that even an impenetrable fortress has cracks.